when it comes to the corruption. They are not likely to make the Judge Anthony Evans judgment public. Why you should not release the judgment and let everyone knows?
Well, I mean, it's a very good question, and I may well do it. The law, the agreement, confidentiality of arbitration is sanctified. And the reason people go to arbitration is because they don't want a long court process, even though this has taken 17 years, and they also want matters to remain confidential. If both parties, I'm bound by the law, and if the law requires me to be confidential, it is a requirement of the rules of the London Court of International Arbitration that both the proceedings, the transcript, the witness testimonies, as well as the judgment and the decisions are confidential. However, I can see that NAB has been leaking left, right, and center selectively to put a spin on things. And yes, I mean, your question is a very valid one. I may well do that. And if I warned Shahzad Akbar, if he continues to spin these lies, I'll just have to put the judgment in front of the whole people of Pakistan, and that will be the end of this this media circus of politicians spinning these things and all that. I may well do that. I mean, your question is very well taken, and you have a very valid point, and I may well do that. But at the moment, the only reason why I'm not doing it is because I am required to exhibit a modicum of respect for the rule of law, which is being gutted by the government of Pakistan.
Just move on to next question, Mr. Moussavi. Now, yeah. Shahzad Akbar is saying, you scam the government of Pakistan and gave them nothing for all the money and efforts they made to get back their stolen money. You got my question?
So what's the question? Sorry.
The question is that now Shahzad Akbar is saying, you scam the government of Pakistan and give them nothing for all the money and efforts they made to get back their stolen money.
Well, in that case, I asked Shahzad Akbar, why did the court come down on my side? Why did the court in its final decision say, and I quote directly, the court said that Broadsheet was a victim of a conspiracy to defraud. Did you hear that? A conspiracy to defraud. What I would, if I was the people of Pakistan, I think I'd prefer to believe the word of Sir Anthony Evans rather than Mr. Shahzad Akbar.
Okay. Well, move on to next questions. My question is that the person's name Anjam Dar, who approached you in 2012 on behalf of the Sharif family and offer you $25 million if you let off the hook in the arbitrations. Is the man a real man? Do you try then afterward to determine if he was related to Nawaz Sharif?
Well, what would you do if somebody rings you, they're very well informed about the dispute you have with another party, and they turn up with photographs in the home of the other party, and they make a telephone call in front of you, not a video call, but a telephone call in front of you to someone who sounds terribly like the principal of the other party, because the principal is a very well-known character, and he's on television, and you are able to identify his voice. It would be reasonable. It would be reasonable to think that the person's, on the face of it, has credentials suggesting that he has some sort of a connection, which gives him the credentials to come and discuss with you. I mean, I would have thought that's obvious. There are rules of accepting prima facie evidence, and that certainly meets the test of prima facie evidence. Whether he's his nephew or not, I know not. Whether Sharif knew that he was coming, I know not. What I do know is at the time he was an extremely well-informed person, and he had, in front of us, he made a telephone call to somebody, and I say us because there was a witness in the room who's available, who made a call to somebody who sounded terribly like Nawaz Sharif. And beyond that, he he had photographs in fairly close and familial circumstance, not in a political rally when there are 20,000 people there, or embracing Sharif in circumstances of political encounter. Not on the contrary. It was a very personal, intimate, obviously it was a home of Mr. Sharif, because Mr. Sharif was dressed in very relaxed clothes in the photographs. And so I had every reason to believe that he was the emissary plenipotentiary of Mr. Sharif. And to this day, I have no reason to believe he was not. I've been given more reasons to believe he is than he's not. And I will continue to adhere to that position until such time the contrary is shown. However, Mr. Sharif is entitled to the legal protection of the presumption of innocence, and the way you overcome the presumption of innocence, you build your case. The prima facie case was that Anjum Dar represented Sharif. We need to take that further, and then that's not my job. It's the job of the government of Pakistan. I'm hoping they'll take it seriously. I sense a breath of fresh air coming out of Pakistan with Imran's government, and I'm hoping they'll do it. But, you know, who am I to judge beyond that?